Amen and amen. Hey, you can be seated, and we're so glad you're here today. And let me say to begin with, happy Father's Day. And I really believe that God has an amazing plan for the men in our churches, in our world. And for all of us, I think there is a seed of greatness. I think every single man has a seed of greatness in his life that typically lays dormant until the right conditions, thank you, like that, can happen out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, amazing things begin to happen in their life. Now, can I ask you a question? Has it been hot at your house? Has it been hot? Yeah, thank you. You know, I wanted to change the sermon series to a series on hell. Because it was just so hot. I thought, it'd be what a great way to say, hey, you don't like that, do you? Like, hey, and there'll be a short sermon like, hey, you think that's hot, that kind of thing. And you'd get that because like everything around you is like dying, withering. And it is so hot, man, that it's hard to go outside for any length of time. Well, there is a place in America that is hotter than Hattiesburg, and it's not just hell. It's Death Valley, California. Anybody been there, Death Valley, California? It's on the edge of California and Nevada, and it gets about 1.5 inches of rain a year, and it's just dormant, it's dry. I mean, you wouldn't want to go there for long other than to see, hey, that's Death Valley. But something happened, years ago. The hottest record on record, the hottest degree on record was recorded in Death Valley in 1913 at 137 degrees. Yeah, you're going, well, that's a dry heat. No, that'll kill you. I mean, like, you could fry an egg on that. I said, don't go that dry heat stuff. Like, that will kill you, okay? And so you get the fact that it is a place that is a wasteland, it's a desert. But in 2004, something happened that had never happened before, at least in recorded time. They had 6 inches of rain. 6 inches of rain fell in Death Valley. And they were like, wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. It's never happened before. And in the spring of 2005, the whole area was just like exploded with wildflowers. I mean, they said it was unbelievable how beautiful it was to see Death Valley come alive because there was seeds that were laying dormant underneath the ground that just needed the right conditions. And I think there's so many men listening to my voice, man. You've got the seed of greatness in you. And all you need is the right conditions. All you need is for the Spirit to fall on you and to begin to work in you. And all of a sudden, everybody around you is going to be astounded at the beauty and the growth and the change that's happened in your life. So today I want to talk about what those things are. And because everybody here, it's not just special people that can be in the right conditions, it's everybody. And so to do that, I'm going to talk about Elijah. How many of you know about Elijah? His name, Eli, the Lord is Jehovah God. And God used him in a powerful way. I love Elijah. It's one of my favorite guys in the whole Bible I want to talk to when I get to heaven. And God used him to deconstruct some terrible structures in the country. And so much so that in Mount Carmel, get this, guys, a cage match between Elijah and 450 prophets of Baal, and guess who wins? Elijah. You talking about some spiritual swag. I mean, like when he walked in, it's like, that dude had 450 prophets of Baal. That guy's amazing. And so but here's the thing, he gets older. And he's in his 80s, and God says, okay, I want you to go and I want you to call people. I want you to put the right conditions in the people's lives so that seed can sprout and they can begin to grow, and I can use them in a powerful way. And so he goes to Assyria. He anoints a guy there king. He goes to Israel, anoints a guy there. And then he goes to a guy named Elisha. And Elisha, it sounds like Elijah, but it's a different spelling, the S-H-A. And the reason that's like that, because his name means the Lord is salvation. And so here's Elijah, and he's going to kind of put this guy in a position where he can go to another level. And you're going to see Elisha, if you read the Bible, he multiplies men everywhere. I mean, it's a revolution, it's a movement, it's a revival in Israel where the men stand up and say, we're not afraid anymore. We're not afraid anymore. We want to follow God. One man with God is a majority. And you're like, well, how does that happen? Can that happen in my life? And yes, it can happen in your life. And God's kind of given me, I don't want to get weird, but a vision of how this is going to happen in men's lives everywhere. I don't mean like just adventure. I mean, all of our great churches in our community, Temple and First Pres, and all, you keep going. Like you can name all of them that God, where the gospel is being preached, God is going to work a powerful work in the lives of men. So here we are in 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 19. And so Elijah went from there, and he found Elisha, son of Shaphat, and he was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen, had this huge business. Okay, I mean, if you had 12 yoke of oxen, this is massive. You're talking about a family business that was rocking it. It was like the Fortune 500 club, okay? And so Elijah went up to him, and he threw his cloak, his mantle over him. It was made of camel's hair. It probably didn't smell good. And so he left his oxen, Elisha did, after he went up and threw the cloak around him. And he ran after Elijah, and he said, let me kiss my father and mother goodbye. Don't you like that about a son? He goes, hey, I want to kiss my mama. You know, I'm about to go. I realize it's a change in my life. And Elijah says in Hebrew, it's not a good way to translate it. He just says, hey, you know, that's between you and God. God's calling you. He just sent me to tell you he's calling you. You do what you need to do. And so Elisha left him and went back, and he took his yoke of oxen, he slaughtered them. He burned the plowing equipment to cook the meat, had a barbecue. And he gave it to the people, and they ate. And then he set out to follow Elijah and become his servant. Now, I love all that because you're like, well, what does all that mean? Well, the four conditions that can happen in your life, men, that when you understand this, it can cause that seed of greatness in you to begin to explode. And the first is you got to accept your calling. Now you're like, well, wait a minute, I don't have a, yeah, you got to, every man has a purpose. Every man has a calling from God. And you're like, well, what is that? Well, let me give you a few that will help you in case you hadn't zeroed in on it. And the first is God's called you to work. Now let that sink because, you know, there was a time when you could say that and go, well, yeah, that's not that way anymore. You know, I don't like my job. I don't like that. I don't like them. I don't like what I'm. No, he's called you to work. And he said to Adam in chapter 2 of Genesis, hey, I'm calling you to take this garden and till it and to make a way in it and to take all the chaos and make things straight. And so that is your calling. Like every man is called to work. You say, but I don't like my job. I don't like my boss. Listen, I have felt that way in times past. I mean, not when I was here, of course, because this is a perfect place to work, but in other places before this. And Paul says in Colossians, he says, whatever you do, work at it with all of your heart because you're working for God and not for people. So some of you may need to hear that. I mean, that's what you needed on Father's Day. Like you can't find the right job. Well, just find a job and start working, and the right job will find you. So the reality is God has a calling on your life, and he wants you to work. Now, don't let work become your identity. Now, that's a whole nother sermon series. Because as men, we begin to think we're who we are based on what we do, and I'm kind of working through that. You know, God has called me to work for him, not just work adventure, you know. And so I'm kind of helping other people grow and develop, and man, they're just exploding, our leaders are. But he's called you to work. The second thing is he's called you to encourage people. Now, men, I want you to listen to this because this is huge, and you're going to miss it if you're not careful. God has given you the power to speak life into the people around you. Your words have power. Now, I don't understand that. Like they say around here, your words have 10,000 pounds of power. Like if you say something, one of our staff, like I'll just say in passing, I think you're doing a great job. They go to one guy and say, hey, I'm getting a raise. I'm like, no, I just said, I think you're a great person. I mean, like, so your words have so much power that when you speak into your family and you speak into your wife and you speak into your kids and you speak into the people you work with, it elevates them or it brings them down. And so you learn how to bless your family. That's hard because if you're married, now this is Father's Day, right? You gonna give me a little latitude? Are you or not? Are you just kind of looking at me like, I ain't saying nothing? The guys ain't saying, I ain't saying nothing. My wife got to say that. I can't say nothing. Yeah, it's hard sometimes because you get frustrated. Elisha and I, she's perfect, but she's not in this service. And there are times when, like, I'll be in the kitchen, like late at night, 10:30, 11. I'm tired, I'm trying to give me something to drink. She'll go, we need to renovate this kitchen. And I'm like, right now? You mean go get a hammer? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Of course, I don't say that. I'm biting my lip. See right there, I've been biting the fire out of my lip, trying not to say anything. But because I'm trying to be positive and encouraging, and it's hard. But your words have power. And when you just speak, it comes into your head, it comes out your mouth, man, you're going to destroy people. You're going to burn people up. I have learned to bless my children and my grandchildren. You say, well, I didn't get the blessing growing up. Well, I'm going to give it to you right now. God says, you're my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Okay, you got it. I was in a conference with 10,000 men, and I was sitting there, wouldn't listen to the guy talking. I kept thinking, man, when's he going to get to the point? He goes, I need to stop preaching right now because I have a word for somebody in this room. You're my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. And I started melting. That's how powerful the blessing is. I've got 5 grandkids, and I'll tell you, when I'm with different ones, I'm going to go, you're my favorite. You're Bob's favorite. I just need you to know that. And I'm with another, you're my favorite. Man, it builds them up. It encourages them. Men were made to work. Men were made to encourage. Now, old people, now I know we got some older people in here. I'm not talking about you, but old people, and a lot of like atheist old people, they're negative. Like everything's negative. The way they show you they love you is they're negative. When I played football, the coach would grab me by the face mask, throw me on the ground, kick me, spit on me, and it meant I was loved. Anybody else play for a coach like that? Yeah, like he said, well, he must really think you're good. So I'm not that good. And your words have power. And God made you to serve. You know why, man, why you don't like church any more than you do? You're not serving. Because when you serve, you come alive. I was at the Hunt Club 2 weeks ago, and a lady drove up, and she goes, there's something wrong with my car. It was a single mom, and she had a little baby in the back, and she said, there's something wrong with my car. I said, all these lights are coming. I said, it's because you got a flat tire, and the other one is worse. And right as I kind of went around, man, men came running out of the Hunt Club like the Talladega 500. They were picking the car up. I'm not kidding you. They had on those tight T-shirts, and they were picking the car up, and they were changing the tire, and I was going like, wow. Wow, men were made to serve. Listen, when you understand that's God's call on your life, to work to God, not into men, to work hard. God made you to work, to encourage people, to serve, and to learn. You know, the thing that you might not get on in this, because I've had time, you give me time to read, and think, and I was reading this, and he puts the mantle on Elisha, and you're thinking, well, okay, Elijah's gone. He went up to heaven no. 18 years. 18 years from the time he put the mantle on Elisha until he became the lead guy. And Elisha learned to trust him. Elisha learned from him. You say, well, I want to know what I'm called to do. Like, what is my calling? I want to clarify my calling. I know I'm to work. I know I'm to encourage. I know I'm to serve. I know I'm to learn. But I don't know let me tell you how you learn your calling. What has burdened you? What is it that has broken your heart? When I was 14 or 15, my family, they're amazing now. They're incredible people. But during that time, I was so broken. I was like, God, if you will help me, I promise you I will help poor people, and I will help people that are struggling with their marriages. It was something that God put on me. It was like a mantle. He just kind of put around my shoulders, and my parents have apologized. And I said, no, thank you. Because of what you did, I'm able to move forward. I know why I'm here. I know what my purpose is. For some of you, it's just opportunity. I mean, there are things in your life and you see opportunities. You don't have to go to the seminary to learn how to do that. You just meet the need. You see a need, you meet a need. You've heard the old story about the starfish that were swept up on the shore and the young man who's over here walking, he's throwing starfish in the ocean, and the old man who's walking a poodle and, mad at the world, get off my lawn, you ain't gonna make no difference in all them. And the young man, I love young people, he grabbed one of the starfish and said, I made a difference in that one. Made a difference, and I would have thrown it right over his head, just right there, give him a haircut. Made a difference in that one. For some of you, it's your ability. I mean, God has given you the ability to make money. I see so many people, man, they are so rich, and they're not that smart. I mean, they're not that good looking. God just bless them. I'm not talking about any of you, of course. I'm talking about in other states. I'm just saying there are a lot of people, like you've been so blessed. God has given you so much, and you didn't do anything to deserve it. He just blessed you. Man, you ought to be a giver. For some of you, man, you're a great leader, and you ought to be leading. For some of you, I watch you. It's incredible. You go into campfire with all of our children, and many of them who do not have dads at home, and you step up and you lead, and they go, oh, that's what a dad looks like. Oh, that's what daddies are like. Listen, I learned about fatherhood from the church. And so if you want to know what you're called to do, just start getting, this is real simple. You ready? When you get up in the morning, you just say, Lord, what are you calling me to do today? Lord, what is it you would have me do? And man, I'm telling you, he'll show you. It's incredible. So you accept your calling. But the second thing is you got to kiss some things goodbye. Now, here's where it gets a little personal, because Elisha goes back and says, hey, Mom and Dad, I'm kissing this business goodbye. I'm kissing you goodbye. And I'm also kissing like my childhood goodbye, because I'm a man now. Paul said, when I was a kid, I acted like a kid. I thought like a kid. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. You say, what are some things I need to kiss goodbye? Well, I can tell you, for me, it was social media. I still struggle with it, because how many of you, is anybody else, you get on Instagram and you're scrolling. Anybody else do that besides me? Okay, 2 people. The rest of you are going to burn in hell because you do that. And yes, true. I mean, I'm not being ugly. I'm just you're lying in the house of God. But here's the reality. Is it y'all okay? Here's the reality. When you're scrolling down Instagram and you get down to that TikTok section, where they put in there now, they grab you and they're grooming you, they're working you, the algorithms, okay? Guys, God just act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't even have a phone. I don't even care. I do smoke signals. But here's the reality. You get down to, and there's like Stephen Curry, and I'm like, oh man, look at him. And he's out there shooting, like, whoa, man, that guy he is awesome. Man, I wish I had a 3-point line when I played. And then all of a sudden you're going down. Stephen Curry. Then yoga pants. What? Oh, this is a fluke. Stephen Curry. Yoga pants doing squats. What? What was that? Ladies, it's never been more difficult to be a man. You need to accept it. You need to pray for your husband. You need to encourage your husband. You need to understand that your husband, he's a man. He is real. He's living in a world that is grooming him and working him every single day, every minute of the day. Let's give men a hand. That you're still alive and you're not in prison means you're a pretty good guy. I've never seen anything like it, and I've seen a lot. You say, well, then I'll just ought not look. This ain't Mother's Day. This is Father's Day. And I'm telling you like it is. It became such an issue with me. Like, I just kind of scrolling, looking, and, dotting, hard. Then all of a sudden, get a yoga back. And I'm like, whoa. And I went to Elisha, and I said, honey, I'm looking at stuff that I ought not be looking at. And she said, well, tell me about it. And I was telling her, and I started crying. I'm like, I can't even believe this. My wife is so godly. She put her arm around me, and she said, honey, what are we going to do about it? And I said, well, I'm going to get something to help me be accountable to you so that everything I look at, you can know about. And I got this accountable to you thing. It's $7 a month. And man, it's the best $7 I've ever spent. Like you get a certain amount if you like do it for a whole year, and like I'm gonna do it the rest of my life. And now occasionally she'll go, hey, where you look? I said, I'm looking this over here. So I'm looking for the church. I mean, this over here, and right here, and I'll show you right here. I got it right here. And because I need to kiss some of those things goodbye. Do you know that 1 out of 3 divorces happen because of social media? I think it's more than that. Do you know there are 260 million websites, landing pages for pornography that you can get to in 2 clicks? Did you know that the average age when a young boy sees a picture like that is when he's 8 years old? Happy Father's Day. And then we got to work at saying goodbye. I can't do that. Those are people. Those are children. Those are somebody's daughters. I need help. We kiss it goodbye. For some of us, it's activities. You've got so many activities that are non-essential, that are optional, that you need to kiss goodbye. I mean, just think about all the boards you serve on, all the committees you're on, all the places that you think you have to go. You know, it's time to kiss some of those goodbye. You can. You say, well, I don't think so. Well, yeah, you can. I mean, I was looking at our 5-year-old T-ball, and I love sports, and I'm all into it. Like there's nobody more into sports than me. 5-year-old T-ball Tuesdays and Thursdays out at 8:30, 9 o'clock on a school night, putting a ball up there and them hitting it and run to third base. I'm like, whoa, this is going to be good. House church. Well, I wish we could go, but it's a school night. It's a school night. Can you give me some leverage? Can you give me a little margin here? You see what I'm talking about? See, if you don't kiss some of those things goodbye, you know what you'll kiss goodbye? Discipleship. You'll kiss goodbye really serving and getting to know the Lord and helping other people because you'll be too busy saying yes to everything else. Number 3, you need to say goodbye. You need to kiss some friends goodbye. Just like tomorrow when you go in, like wherever it is, maybe it's happy hour or whatever, and you're going in and you kind of go, it's over. You say, why would you do that? Because, listen, if you're around friends that their character's right here, guess how much your character's going to be? It's going to be right there. If you've got people in your life and they're always bringing you down and you don't know if they're for you, you don't know if they're against you, maybe it's time to kiss them goodbye. Because bad company corrupts good character. Those who walk with the wise will grow wise, but the companion of fool will suffer harm. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's the thing that's keeping you dormant is the people you're running with. You're saying, you mean be judgmental? No, I'm just saying you can't always be with them doing what they're doing because they're taking you down the wrong road. You say, well, what will I do? You'll sign up for an adventure. Listen to me. Listen to me. I know you think I'm old. I know you think, but that means I've done things. I've been places. The most exciting thing I've ever done in my life is be used by God in different situations where I've seen Him work and I went, woo. It's unbelievable. I mean, like I've been in some amazing places, man. I don't have time to tell you because it's not like I'm bragging and some things I've done that have been amazing. I mean, like on sidelines and I don't know. Here's the thing. Nothing has been more exciting than being used of God. And when you say, God, I want you to use me. God, I'm going to get up today. God, show me what you want me to do. I'm telling you, man, everything you're like, he may be working here. He may be working here. He may be working here. I was at Starbucks this past week. I know you think, you go there all the time. Well, I do that because I'm witnessing. And there was a guy sitting beside me. He had tarot cards out, flipping them over to find out his future. And I'm going to say, bro, you're not going to find your future in that. everywhere. You say, well, what does that look like? I mean, give me an idea. It looks like USM baseball. Look, before USM played Ole Miss, and I know we got a lot of Ole Miss fans in here, and I have a hard time. I did root for them against Auburn, but you know, saying we're going to root for Ole Miss because they're in Mississippi is sounding like I'm going to root for the devil because he's in the Bible. I'm just playing with you. I got to make sure I'm just playing, okay? I'm playing with you. I want them to win every game but I'm just saying, okay? But see how passionate you get? I couldn't find a ticket to the USM game. I called in every chip I had. I called one guy, I said, you owe your soul to me, and he hung up on me. I got a little poster at Walmart said, we'll work for tickets. I mean, I was doing everything I could, and I finally got in there. Finally, a guy got me in. All my buddies, man, they were ghosting me. But this brother, he said, no, I'm going to take you, man. I know you need. So we got the ticket where you sit out there on the hill, and you can't see the batter, and you just kind of wait and hope that you see where it goes so you don't get hit by the pitch. That's a true story. There were people everywhere. It was so hot I was crying. The only thing that saved me is I was sweating more than I was crying. It was unbelievable. I saw a guy in our church. He's an old guy. He was sitting right back there earlier, and he can't walk. He's about 150 years old. And I saw him literally. He came down the hill. I'm not kidding you. He came down the hill on one of those holy roller things, and he was flying down the hill. He just came right there, right to the fence. I said, what do you do? He goes, man, I got me a good seat. Why? Because they want to be a part of the glory. They want to be a part of something big. They want to be a part of something that is life-changing. And let me tell you, that's a walk with God. But it requires sacrifice. Paul said in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, he said, I urge you, I beseech you, I'm begging you, because of the mercies of God, that you continually present your body as a living sacrifice. That means all the time, every day. Every day, so my body is a living sacrifice to you. Every single day, not just when you get saved, not just when you get baptized, every single day, and you stop conforming. You quit conforming. You say, no more conforming. I'm kissing that goodbye. No more conforming to the world, but I'm going to continue to be transformed by the renewing of my mind so that I may understand what the perfect will of God is. And when you do that, man, it's rolling. You'll have swag. I'm just telling you, I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you there are times. Now, there are times I don't, but there are times when, I feel God so close to me. Like, I got a swag. When I walk in, like I know somebody's going to get touched. Somebody's going to get saved. Somebody's going to get changed. Somebody's going to get lit up. And I walk through bars and see all y'all and wave and but I'm just thinking, God's going to use it. Why? Because I want to leave a legacy. I don't want to just leave an inheritance. That's just money and things, and they fight over it. Have you ever done a funeral for rich people, and they hate each other, and then you get to the funeral? Can I say this on TV? And they get to the funeral, and then they're all like, hey, can't wait to get them in the ground and figure out I got that chair. How about that? How about that? Money and things, money and things, money and things, money and things, money and things. That's all you got. Because a legacy is character and people. When godly people die, there's a sweetness about it that's hard to describe. Because people don't remember how you got here, but they remember how you leave. We've got our grandkids. Our kids are in Africa trying to close everything down, and we're trying to get them to go to sleep last night. It's made me love all these parents of children. I'm sorry. I forgot how hard it was. And they won't go to sleep. And I want a drink of water. I'm scared of the dark. Finally I said, no, that's true. You just don't go to sleep. And they said, well, sing us a song. And I said, well, twinkle, twinkle. They said, no, not that song. That song about the firm foundation. And my 5-year-old granddaughter started singing the song, the first song we sang. Got the firm foundation, the rock on which. And she's singing this out loud. He'll never fail us. And I'm about to go to sleep. She goes, and he won't. And it scared me to death. It literally, I'm serious. I may not ever sleep again. And I thought, well, somebody's been working that into their little heart. And the reality is, that's what a legacy looks like. I'm going to read you one other story, and then I'll be done. And I apologize to our team because I'm doing things that I didn't tell them I was going to do. And I do that because I am the man. 2 Kings chapter 6, though. And this is Elisha, and there's so many men like growing in their faith and multiplying, which I dream of seeing. And there's so many of them, they've got to move. They've got to go to another place. I mean, they got multiple sites, okay? And so they're getting ready to build another site. And the company of the prophet said to Elisha, look, the place where we're meeting is too small for us. I love that because of our guys here and our ladies here. Like they're saying, Jeff, you got to give us more room. The space you've given me is too small. And I'm like, well, I know, but I got some stuff I want to do. And they go, no, you need to pour into us and let us do it. And we'll be encouraged by you, but you need to move out of the way. You need to get the shade out of the way. We don't keep having to follow all that. And so I'm trying to learn that, just like this guy did. And so they invite him to come along with them. And the company of the prophet said to Elisha, look, the place where we're meeting with is too small. He said, let us go to the Jordan, and each of us will get like some lumber, and we'll build a place for us to meet. And he said, well, go ahead and go. They said, but we want you to come with us. We want you to come with your servants. He said, okay, I will. And they went along, and they came to the Jordan. You've never heard this before, so I want you to get ready. And they cut down some trees, and they were cutting down a tree, and an iron axe head fell into the water. Oh, no, my Lord, the servant cried. It was borrowed. And the man of God said, well, here, hold on a second. He gets a stick and throws it in the water. The stick, it goes to the bottom, and the axe head begins to float. He said, where did it fall? And he cuts the stick and throws it in. He made it float. He said, lift it out. And then the man reached out his hand, and he took it. Like, well, what does that mean? It means that you need an older man in your life before you lose your axe. I'll let you parse all that. Because I'm going to tell you, in the world we live in, men, you're going to lose your axe. And there needs to be somebody in your life who you can cry out to. Otherwise, your life will end. You say, well, what do you want us to do? And you can start the music. I was done now, but, well, this is what I want you to do, man. This is not a girly sermon. I love girlies. I love my wife. But this is for men. Listen to me. You need to accept your calling. I don't know what that means to you. You need to accept your calling. You need to be a man. You need to kiss some things goodbye. Now, I don't know what that is for you. I know I'm working on it. It's every day kissing it goodbye. You need to sign up for an adventure and quit playing at your faith. Act towards your faith like you act towards your team. Go all in. It's an adventure. Why? Because you're leaving a legacy or an inheritance. Most of you are going to leave an inheritance. Put the church in there since that's all you're leaving. Throw us some of it. So men, how about it? During a time of response, are you man enough to come down here to one of these places, crosses, give to God what you've been withholding from God? Say, God, help me kiss this goodbye. Take the Lord's Supper and say, God, fill me and use me and take me on a great adventure. Put on the table what you want to leave as a legacy. Before it's too late. All our world needs is one man who is willing to do what God calls him to do with his life. Would you bow your heads? God, I feel so responsible to live out the message I've just shared. And God, you know every day it is a battle. Every day I get up fighting. Sometimes even in the night with dreams. And God, I pray for our men. God, I know how difficult it is. I know how scary it is to get to know someone and them know you. I know how hard it is to lead a family. I know how hard it is to be a good dad. I know how difficult it is to have all the pressures of providing for your family. God, bless these men. God, give them everything they need for the seed of greatness to sprout. God, let your Spirit fall. Let your Spirit fall on that dry, barren heart so that your seed of greatness, the fruit that remains, God, will be evident to everyone around them. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.